Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Well, yesterday, Senator Abiola Isiaq Ajimobi, the immediate past governor of Oyo State, was laid to rest at his residence in Ibadan. A lot of people are still in shock, but that is what it is. First of all, may his soul rest in peace. Well, he was born in 1949 and had a long, illustrious career both in the private sector and then in politics. And then unfortunately took ill, COVID-19, and was admitted to hospital on the 2nd of June, and indeed passed on the 25th of June, having spent about a couple of weeks, in intensive care. And so today we sort of will look at his times, we'll bring you the burial yesterday, and then we'll also be speaking with a respondent in Ibadan about the life and times of the man. Indeed, we'll also have the phones open for you to contribute when the time comes. But first of all, let's take our package that we did and that went out yesterday on our main news on Senator Isiaq Ajimobi.
Dignitaries from far and near converge on the Oluyole resident of former governor of Oyo State, Senator Abiola Ajimobi, to bid their leader farewell. Security at the event was bottle-tied as only few invited guests were allowed access into the funeral. Newsmen were also barred from covering the event. Prominent Nigerians who spoke about the late senator described him as an accomplished Nigerian who changed the political dynamics of Oyo State.
It was one governor that woke Oyo State up from the lethargy of underdevelopment. We saw 8 years of transformational leadership under his stewardship. He laid the foundational structures necessary for a modern state.
Will surely be missed, and I know the political system in Nigeria has lost a figure, a colossus, somebody that commands respect, and has the core values of a good leader.
The governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress in the 2019 election described the death of Ajimobi as a monumental loss to the state and indeed the nation at large.
Contribution to Oyo State development is quite visible in almost every sector of our economy, from security to environment to education to the health sector to commerce to transportation to road infrastructure. The 8 years he spent governing Oyo State was known for a lot of development strides, and no other governor has ever matched him, I can say that.
Islamic prayer sessions were also later held for the former senator at Isiaq Abiola Ajimobi Central Mosque, where Nigerians from all walks of life had converged to pray for the repose of the soul of the late state executive.
A great son of Southwest is gone, an illustrious Ibadan man, and a detribalized Nigerian. Is a man with a huge sense of humor. You will never be bored when you are next to him. He has a very huge sense of humor. He's a good man, and we just pray that God will grant his soul eternal rest.
Title Kosheleri Apple, just because of his contribution, the way he handled governance in Oyo State, the kind of development he introduced in Oyo State, and I think that was what fetched him Kosheleri, and that was the first time such thing will happen. And since he had left the governance, and he has also been contributing, as a political figure, further in the state, to the development of the state, giving advice where necessary.
Former Governor Abiola Ajimobi passed on at the age of 70. He was said to have succumbed to the death following the complications associated with COVID-19. His death came as a rude shock to many of his followers at a time when reconciliatory efforts were into gear in Oyo State, even as the party strives to be on the right footing ahead of the future elections. With prayers rendered by family, friends, and political associates, many here believed that the man fondly called Kosheleri will forever be remembered as a transformer in the history of Oyo State. Ademola Lawrence, TVC News, Ibadan.
Indeed, thank you, Demola. And that report, as I said, went out first last night on the TVC main news. So, Senator Ajimobi, he's passed on, was buried at his home. And we have joining us from Ibadan, the man's media aide, media aide to the former, now deceased former governor, Mr. Tunji Bello. Good morning, Mr. Bello. I beg your pardon. Mr. Tunji Bolaji. I beg your pardon. Well, good morning, Mr. Tunji Bolaji.
Yes. Tunji Bolaji.
Good
morning.
Aha. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. I imagine it's tough for those who are close to him. Indeed, going by all the eulogies that have we've been hearing, it was a painful loss. How long had you worked with him? Okay, we're having a problem with the sound, and I think we'll get that back. Okay, I can see you moving a bit now, so maybe we got you back. Let me try again. You could hear they were referring to his nickname there, Kosheleri, which is Yoruba. We could roughly translate that to mean it hasn't happened before. Give us a bit of background, in terms of talking about the man to his earning that nickname.
All right. I believe you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
Thank you for your question. Yes. It's rather unfortunate that we lost him this period in time. And most painfully is the fact that prior to his death, he looked extremely healthy. And when you also consider and look at him at 70, he don't look his age. He looks younger than 70. So that made and so
one moment, Mr. Bolaji. One moment, Mr. Bolaji. We are having some issues with, I think, the bandwidth. So we're going to try, one or two things to sort of fix that. But in the meantime, if you've just joined us, we are linking up with Mr. Tunji Bolaji, who is the late Senator Isiaq Ajimobi's media aide. And, he was just, sort of getting into talking to us about the man. As I said earlier, at the top of the program, we would be dedicating the bulk of this program to the life and times of the man. He was buried yesterday, and you've just, seen the report. He passed on. He was the acting national chairman of APC when he passed on, and we're talking about him. Right now we have problems, one or two issues with connecting with his media aide in Ibadan, who worked very closely with him, and so should be able to give us some insights. You saw their dignitaries, but the other thing is that this appeared to be really, keying in with, the whole new, the new times we're in now, COVID-19. A man like this, if it had not been in these special times, I imagine that all of Ibadan would have known in terms of the traffic gridlock, but even then, you could see the pictures. Well, no need to go over it again. Those are some of the people at the event that were speaking to us. So as soon as we can connect back up again, we'll be hearing from the media aide to the governor. Okay, I hear that we have Mr. Tunji Bolaji, but this time on the phone. Okay, so good morning, Mr. Bolaji, once again. Let's start afresh. It's going to be one of those kind of days, huh? Mr. Bolaji, can you hear us? Well, this is technology for you. It works like that sometimes. I mean, suddenly you're stuck right up creek, as they say, maybe without a paddle, that kind of a thing, because of the way the program is structured, and then technology is what it is. There are times when things work smoothly, but now and again, as you saw, the bandwidth issues when we're trying to get him on Skype were playing up, and now we've tried to get him on a phone, and then that is playing up too. But I think that's sort of loosened up a bit. Let me see if Mr. Bolaji, if we can get him on the phone now. Hello, Mr. Bolaji, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Oh, okay, that's a relief.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
The problem is that there's an interference from your end there.
Okay, all right then. Well, we've sorted it out. At least, I don't know, but yeah. So thank you for joining us. We're trying to find out a bit more about the governor. First of all, he's well known nationally. He was acting chairman. He was the governor twice, which means 8 years. And he actually, I think people fondly referred to him as Kosheleri. And I think when we were on Skype, you were going to sort of relate to that. I had said, decode that Kosheleri, which is Yoruba for it hasn't happened before. Could you go ahead, please?
Yes, like I was saying, yes, he was given the sobriquet Kosheleri because of his unprecedented second-term achievement. In the history of Oyo State, there had never been any governor that served 2 terms. He is the first to have done that. And I believe he got that sobriquet because he got that second term because of the fact that he served the people diligently in his first term. He achieved a lot for the people developmentally. And they felt that the only way they could compensate him was to give him a second term. And based on that, he got that sobriquet of Kosheleri, that this has never happened in the history of Oyo State. Nobody has ever served Oyo State for 2 terms.
Yeah. Now, the man had a distinguished career both in the private sector and then in politics as well. I'm sure a number of firsts will occur to you, but staying on this whole theme of Kosheleri, how come he broke the jinx, as you've just explained, that seemed to have been in place in Oyo State? No doubt it's a political situation. How did he untangle the political knot? What do you think was responsible? Or was it the times that, well, the political configuration now is different from those times when what you said obtained? No governor was able to get a second term.
Okay, I will say something, and that is, you see, when you before he became governor, he told us that story. He said, anytime he was coming into Ibadan from Lagos, and he will start looking around. He will see so many things. He will say, God, why is Ibadan like this? With the closer to Lagos, and when you compare the fact that Ibadan is close to Lagos, or is close to Lagos, you discover that development in Lagos is much ahead of Oyo State. And you feel that anytime he was coming to Ibadan, anytime he was passing through, one thing that comes to his mind is, if I have the opportunity of ruling this state, there are so many things I will change. That was his aspiration. That look, let's just God give me that opportunity to rule this state. And he got that opportunity in 2011. He had tried in 2007, it didn't work. And in 2011, he got it. And that was what pushed him to what he was doing in the state. It was an altruistic thing. He had gotten to the highest level in his career as the MD of National Oil, and and there was nothing else for him again. But he felt he needed to give back to the society, and he went into politics. And if we are a regular visitor to Oyo State, and if you had been there prior to his coming into Oyo State, and when he got there, it will be obvious, and it's a fact that he did a tremendous job. He did a good job for Oyo State. He improved Oyo State. In Oyo State, before he came in, Oyo State was the garrison command, brigandage, acting, people killing themselves, NURTW, everything. When he came in, all this stopped. He put a stop to it. Because he was a no-nonsense man. No-nonsense man. There are times when we tell people, look, I will lock you up. I will lock you up. I remember one time when one late NURTW chairman came, and he said, okay, we are your own. Tell us anywhere, we do. My boss said, to where? To go and do what? Any of your enemies? I don't have any enemy. Everybody in Oyo State are my people. And if you try anything, I will lock you up. I was there. All those people started laughing. Be laughing. Just go and do it. They know him.
Yes.
They knew he was capable of all those things.
Indeed. Also, a man that wasn't afraid to confront controversy if need be. I'm referring here to his, he interfered, shall we say, in the structure of chieftaincy in Oyo State and in Ibadan in particular. How difficult was that?
Yeah, let me tell you what happened on this matter. And you see, people really misunderstood what happened there. You see, there's always this saying that a reformer like him would never be appreciated until he left the stage. It was the same thing when at the late stage when Awolowo was alive. I told us the story about it too. You see, when he took that decision on the chieftaincy affairs, he had wide consultation with all the people in Oyo State, all the people that are supposed to know, that he spoke with everybody, all the elders, chiefs, and they agree with it. And why did they agree with it? It's coming from the fact that, look, Oyo State, because of its development, the ownership, the kingship thing should be elevated to match with modern reality. He said that when Ibadan of Ibadan goes out, it should be held in high esteem. It should be held in high esteem. He should go with entourage, so that even if Ibadan was not good for the function, he could send any of your letter overs to those places to represent him. He felt the need to actually elevate the kingship thing in Oyo State. It was on the basis of that. Even the Olubajo himself agreed with him. But you see, they brought politics into it. In Lagos State, we have, apart from the Oba of Lagos, we have Oba is there. In most of Ikeja is there, and all those places. These are some of the things that we felt we could bring development to Oyo State. And he embarked on it based on the belief that those other people will support. But when it became a political issue, all of them refused to say anything again. But as a leader, he felt he needed to carry the can because as a leader, he was a leader, he started it,
Yeah.
That was
okay. Apart from being an administrative issue, it was also a deeply cultural issue, where people, culture, I imagine they say, is a very, very difficult thing to amend or change. But as you were saying, he was spurred on by, ideals from other lands, and he wanted to see whatever could be imported into Oyo State, aspects of Oyo State is what you are saying. And whereas everybody agreed at the time, but when the whole matter, as you say, turned political, then people began to keep mum.
Yeah.
Another thing that people have noticed since his passing, and I'll come back to ask you about some of the highlights, no doubt, of his stewardship in Oyo State. But the other thing, through a lot of media that have come out since it was known that he had passed, was a seeming, easygoing attitude to life. I've seen some videos where he's been seen saying that, he doesn't take anything too seriously, and that what will be, that kind of a thing. So you worked with him closely. On the one hand, you said that he's a guy who could, in certain circumstances, say things like, I'll lock you up. And then apparently there's another side to him where he's a what will be kind of a person.
Yeah. Yes, you're right on the score. He has this ability to take the serious and follow through with it. But there's also that aspect of him where he does not take himself too seriously. He will tell us binary words. The good side, the bad side. It is a binary word. He will always say that you took from him because he was also a teacher. He will teach you, lecture you. And he will tell you, look, I may not have a PhD. I may not have a PhD in academics, but I have PhD in life experiences and teachings. And he will now, aspect of his life, most time people will not know some of these things because they see the advantage of a tough person, an arrogant person. Senator Ajimobi was not arrogant. You need to know. You see, the one thing is this: he doesn't like to be cheated. He wants you to say straight, and that is why whenever he says anything, he's always straight. And once he says it, that's the end of it. And then he listens to superior arguments. Once you come to him and say, Oga, not like that. It's not like that. Then you review it.
Would you think of him as a good politician? Because he really made his chops in the private sector. And there are those who might say that he's one of those governors you could consider a technocrat before becoming a governor. And sometimes it is thought that technocrats are not necessarily the best politicians. I'm sure you're very well aware of this. So how would you balance it? Would you say he was a good politician, even as I'm keenly aware that, his party deemed it fit for him to be the acting national chairman of his party? Talk to us about the politician, Ajimobi.
Thank you, Yori. Let me say something. What do you mean by saying, is he a good politician or a bad politician? Who is really a politician? What are those requirements to be a politician? Now, I personally, if you are diligent, you are competent, and you are good at it, which we can say he was, by virtue of the fact that he rose to the highest level of anybody's professional career as the MD of an international organization, and it fits into the political arena. That means he's grounded, he's well prepared for that task. I will say the politician must be to prefabricate, to lie. If he not lie, I think he lived ahead of his time. I'm sorry. He played politics in Oyo State ahead of his time. But the discerning people, those who are more realize that this man is a gem that must be kept. That this is a man that is competent, that we need. He will not mince words, he will tell the truth, and that's it. So, and he will tell us, look, they say I talk. What is the work of a politician? Is it not to talk?
Yeah, of course, I get you there, you know, but
Yes.
I get you there. Now, he served 2 terms, and the first to do so. What are some of the highlights of his stewardship in Oyo State?
Yeah, thank you very much. His achievements in Oyo State speak for themselves. If you come into Oyo State today, you will see the changes. Even the present administration is also building those achievements. And they try to build on those achievements. Nothing has been, since the past 1 year, the present administration has not done anything. It is what Ajimobi put on ground that they are still working on. But that notwithstanding, governance is a continuum. So there's no problem with that. It is expected. Now, the rules. In all the entrance roads in the state, you had him seeing dual carriageways in entry to all the to all the major towns at Oyo State. Dual carriageways. You know, this is unprecedented. In most of the states too, you see all these road constructions that he embarked on and completed before he left governance. All the different towns. When you now come to the capital of your state, Ibadan, you see manifestations of some of these things. Excuse me. In terms of road construction, they are there. Apart from that, in terms of tourism, in Oyo State, when he took over in 2011, we had only 6 radio stations. We have over 30 businesses came up.
Okay, welcome back, and we still have Mr. Bolaji on the phone. In fact, he had been with us and had, been giving us an insight into the life and times of the former governor of Oyo State. And he was just talking about his political achievements. So once again, Mr. Bolaji, okay, you can hear us. Please round off, because you were telling us about infrastructure, that he seemed to pay a lot of attention to infrastructure, the roads especially.
Yeah, thank you. It wasn't only in the roads area, in the area of roads. We also have his imprimatur in security. Okay. You see, when he got in, armed robbery was rampant in Oyo State. And the first thing he did was to establish the State Security Trust Fund. And he had a board for them. And they were working with the police. He established Operation Boss and bought ILOX vehicles for them, all security equipment for them, to enable them function. And that was very effective. It was very, very effective. He says that armed robbery incidents stopped in Oyo State. For the whole of his tenure, 8 years, there was no bank robbery. I can tell you, it is there. The facts are there. Today in Oyo State, security is collapsing. I'm sorry, but that is the reality. You may make your independent investigation.
Okay.
Talk to people in Oyo State.
Okay.
The insecurity is on the rise. People are being attacked. Neighborhoods are being held hostage.
But
that
so,
is
okay.
the area of security.
Okay. Well, Mr. Bolaji, I want to thank you very much. He did bring, a development to bear in Oyo State, as you say, and he'll be sorely missed. Thank you very much for coming on the program and talking to us about him, no matter how briefly. We appreciate your joining us. And so that's that. Now let's swing to another aspect of daily life, and we're talking about the economy now. Now the economy, the most severe downturn in recent memory, occasioned by COVID-19, is upon us. Well, the president has inaugurated an economic sustainability committee headed up by the vice president, Yemi Osinbajo. And, it's really, we want to talk about the $2.3 trillion sort of, stimulus package that has come into the ballpark. Now, we have Mukhtar Mohammed, our dear friend and analyst on economic matters on the line. Good morning, Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed.
Good morning, Uncle Yor.
Hello, sir. $2.3 trillion is some serious change, as we say locally. Now, of course, you can see what we're doing here, what we're trying to do. Hopefully, COVID-19 will give us the opportunity and give us the chance, by which I mean that nowadays you are hearing people from around the world saying that did they open up the economy? Did they go back to work too early? What are the figures saying? But hopefully, let's just say that we're going along the trajectory that we have, and indeed we did do the right thing. How would you expect the 2.3 trillion to really help, as it were, to pull back some of the damage that has been done?
Uncle Yori, best document from this administration is going to be workable, if it's going to be implementable. If you looked at that document, it's going to be like a wagon document. It's going to be a document that have effects on every sector. You're looking at infrastructure, and you're looking at locally made infrastructure. You're looking at job creation through those documents. So what you're looking at is, if they are going to create, let me give you an example. They're talking about the maintenance of roads. They are now saying that the road maintenance that will be done in terms of reconstruction of roads, the cement will be supplied by Nigerians. And now they are not looking at Nigerians as well, the large cement companies. They are now looking at individual distributors within that axis and say they will create an employment. So it's a document that is going to touch the informal sector, the formal sector. So they are looking at whereby to mitigate the challenges of COVID-19. And that is one of the best documents, and like I said, if we are able to implement it, it gives us where you say, I for one have been complaining about the informal sector not being affected, not being touched during this COVID-19 palliative to them. This is one of the best palliative. It's more or less an SME, private partnership, government-driven document. I think it's a fantastic document, but I said I put it close to it if we are able to implement it.
Indeed, if they are able, if we are able to implement it, as you put it. I understand that, because, as you said, it's essentially, it's largely about SMEs, and Nigerians are supposed to fully engage with aspects of it that will be open to them. And I understand that there's been enthusiastic embracing of the scheme as far as Nigerians embracing, engaging with it are concerned. So it means that
you can see, I think the first time you are bringing a document, I'm not criticizing the document. You can see, for us, I'm saying that this is a good document. Even before the document came out, I had an opportunity to see the document before it was even made public to the media. I went through it, and I said, this is the best thing. This is the best document I have seen. But like I always say, Nigeria has never been devoid of good documents. We've had the NEED document. We have the Vision 2020. We always have fantastic documents. What we always have challenges is in the implementation of this document. I expect by now, especially the office of the vice president, which happens to be those that we're going to handle this thing, will by now be touching on several ways, be telling us how this money is being pumped into the system. Now, what they are trying to do now, they are trying to guide against the volatility of exchange rate. So it's going to be driven locally. So then what I'm trying to say is a local-driven document. We are not going to be depending on one company to bring in something outside. Everything that we need to implement this project must be in this country. So it's going to help bring down the volatility of the exchange rate. It's going to help create jobs. It's going to help revive SMEs. It's just a classic good document. But my challenge to remain, I need to see how they are going to implement this document, because it's just a document. They've not told us how are they going to implement it, the people that are going to be involved in the implementation, how are these companies going to be picked, how are you going to get this informal sector to start to work, what are the modalities? That's what I'm waiting for now.
Indeed. And, the whole Buy Nigerian concept to this particular project, are you among those people who believe that we can indeed do this if there is the will? Because remember, back in the day, President Buhari is among those who had come. No, was it President Buhari? It was one of his ministers that we are in the business of importing everything, but everything, even those things that we can make here. Now, just looking at it more generally than that, in terms of being self-sufficient, as you have said, that this seems to be one of the focuses of the document, you think we have that capability? We can indeed, source most of our raw materials and most of our needs domestically, if there is the political will to do so. Because as you have also pointed out, this is not the first time that we've tried this.
Yeah, the political will must be there, and the person that is involved in it is somebody that I think knows what he's doing, especially from the office of the vice president in collaboration with the economy management team. And if you look at those documents, the document and what they're saying they want to do in this document, most of all those material are already here in Nigeria. So like you said, the political will to be able to do it, because like I said, it's not going to depend on exchange rate volatility. It's going to be locally driven. So for me, in terms of that, you're talking about cement. It's not saying, okay, if you need to do the roads, we are going to use cement. If you need to do the quota, we are going to go to get to the bitumen. Bitumen in Abiyakuta. So he's saying, look, all these things we are going to source for it locally. We are not going to be depending on it. So it's going to be an indigenous palliative COVID-19 action plan. It's not going to be a plan that is going to be depending on any exchange rate volatility. It's going to be a plan that will depend solely on the people and those that are going to be behind the implementation. Mm-hmm. Because it's not going to be rocket science to get cement. It's not going to be rocket science for the woman that is going to be selling food for those people that will be involved in the work along the road. It's not going to be rocket science for the vehicles that are going to be moving some of this, the sand, the cement. So all these things are things that we already have obtainable here in the country. So for me, it's not going to be anything of too much of a rocket science or anything that we have to look waiting for something to be imported. Mm-hmm. We're not dealing with the power sector. Yeah, even if the power sector is also part of this project, but the power sector on intent is trying to build capacity. Yeah. So you see, it's a document that is looking at every area, but it's looking at sourcing it locally.
Okay, a real boost for the local economy. Good morning, Mr. George, and thank you very much for holding on.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Uncle Yori, please, first of all, permit me to wish Senator Ajimobi his soul. May he find his way to paradise.
Amen.
The stimulus package that you are talking about, there is something that is not clear to me. You mentioned $2.3 trillion. Is it dollars or naira? Yes. Where that's
okay. Actually, it's 2.3 trillion Nigerian naira.
Naira, okay. Because I was imagining if it is dollars, I was going to ever raise that money.
My mistake. Sorry.
Be that as it may, Uncle Yori, my fear is that the way and manner corruption is thriving in this country, the implementation, like the financial expert there said, the document is good looking, but the implementation, how are we going to achieve it? Look at the social intervention programs of the government. When it was in the hands of the vice president, we were seeing the impact, we were seeing the results. Immediately they were transferred to a ministry, it became something else. This one, I want to suggest that the government should leave the implementation and the overseeing in the hands of the vice president if we want to see any good result from it. It shouldn't be given to one minister or one ministry to be supervising it. If you subject it to the whims and caprices of the, what the ministry does, we will not see anything in it. That's my suggestion.
Indeed. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. George, and thank you very much for contributing that impression. Well, Mukhtar, this is squarely, it's the president launched it, and as you know, it's headed up by the vice president, no less. This must be an indication of the importance that the president attaches to it, and how do you see it? And what Mr.
I like people to not forget that this administration is an administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. The vice president also part of the team. So we should not try to make it feel like it's only when the vice president is there that such a document will work. That is why we've been talking, people like me have been clamoring for building of institutions. So, and this document, the office of the vice president is only going to supervise this document. It's going to involve the Ministry of Transport. It's going to involve the Ministry of Works and Housing. Remember, in this document also, we'll be having about 300 housing units all built all over the country. So it is going to involve the Ministry of Power. It's going to involve the Ministry of Labor and Productivity. So it's
yeah, but all
of
being supervised by the vice president's office.
Yeah, this will be supervised strictly by the vice president's office. That is the point. But
yes.
I'm trying to put it the fact whereby you just think that because it's in the office of the vice president,
running
the vice
everything.
president is going to run that
no.
process alone. So he has a team.
Yeah, one sort of took that for granted.
And parasectors, those teams will be working with him.
Indeed. Mazi Okorafor, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sir Yori.
Yeah.
Sir Yori, there's something I'm trying to find out. At least I'm starting to be corrected. You see, the present administration right now, the office of president, we have a lot of things mapped out for the youth, mapped out for the young ones, mapped out for the middle class. But the question there is this: the policies are good. How do we monitor all these things and how do we implement them? Because if you look at the package or the packages, you see that all these packages are very, very good. But short, 80% or 70% are not implemented. So this is the issue, because if Nigerian government is to implement all these things, I bet even COVID-19 is there or not there, people will not feel the impact. When the small, the junior, the middle, and the top will not feel the impact. Now, what do we do? That is why I'm just suggesting to the office of the president, let them do this, let them do a U-turn. Each project you have now, in each community, in each local government, let's have a youth leader, traditional rulers to monitor all those things. Where possible, at least there must be a record open an office in each state. They should be reported every week. If the government can do that, Mr. Yori, I bet you we will not complain of it. All this issue of armed robbery, rape, will not happen. But what do? We have to go back to the basics and face the reality. For our brother that have died, but there's one thing that we have to remember. I'm not comfortable in Nigeria because we only talk of somebody when it's late. I know death is inevitable. Let us try and celebrate human beings that have done something while they are alive. It will make more meaning for us. Not when somebody died, we've seen all this litany of this and that. When that person was alive, what were we doing? Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mazi. Mukhtar, where Mazi went to there, well, I think I've heard the senior SSA to the president talk about these are different times, and President Buhari is aware of some of the comments that have already been made here, that this has been tried, but he's approaching this with a kind of a gusto, and that is indicated by, number one, this being the whole sustainability package committee, headed up by the vice president, and as we pointed out, of course, that there will be many ministries that will be involved. But I think the key thing is that they are aware that we've been here before, and it is President Buhari's intention that there shall be a difference this time.
I believe so too. I hope so too, and I think so too. I looked at the document. Like I said, it's one of those best palliative documents, and moreover, it's going to be locally driven. We are not going to be depending on forex. Like I jokingly told a friend of mine, I say, where do we have 2.2 trillion naira? I said, look, what we need to do is look inwardly, begin to see how we can get those money inwardly. Yeah, go to the capital market. There's a lot of financing that will be involved.
Exactly.
And I think we have the capacity to do that.
Indeed. So, but beyond the capacity, the resolve this time, that's maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a political concept, but we are hearing that the resolve this time is like President Buhari is not joking with this matter.
Definitely. I think this is the first policy that I'm saying that he's not joking with it. I think he's ready to implement it. I think with the caliber of the person of the vice president, he doesn't put his hand in something and he doesn't want to see it come up. Like one of your callers said when he was handling the trader money, all those other direct intervention, we saw the result. He personally would like to supervise some such things. He personally wants to go to the market. He personally wants to go to this construction site. He's a man that believes in what, and this document is not a document that was written and given to him. He assembled the team and they came out with this document. So I think it's implementable. I think it's workable, and I think it's a document that which he himself has decided that it must work.
Okay. Mr. Afolabi in Redemption Camp. Good morning, sir. Oh dear. I think we somehow lost Mr. Afolabi in Redemption Camp there. So, as we've come to talk about it, the resolve, it's good because actually at the end of the day, you look at people by their reputation for their track record and what they can do, what they have done. And that's why perhaps a lot of Nigerians have hope that, yep, we've been down this road before, but in this instance, first of all, President Buhari, he's done. One more term, he's on his last term, and he does want to leave a legacy. And if this doesn't begin to show signs of fruition very shortly, then, God forbid, he will be in danger of maybe not having achieved his aim, which is to make a definite change on the political and economic horizon of the country. And so it's like this operation here that's headed up by the vice president is one of the many aspects where the president hopes to leave a lasting legacy. Mr. Olayinka from Jos, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Mr. Yori, good morning.
Thank you for calling in, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, I just want to comment on about the late Ajimobi.
Okay.
It's not a culture in Yoruba land what the governor of Oyo State did. We already honor the dead. I've never heard from the former governor, the governor of Oyo State, even after to the public, the paper. It cannot happen. I mean, the North here for over 30 years. It can never happen in the North. They gladly run themselves when they have problems. It's what is happening to Yoruba. It has not happened before that your colleagues, a former governor will die. You keep quiet. Is there a new system to politics in the West?
Okay.
Please, Oguyori, this is a topic I want you to take up one day with the governor. Please.
Okay,
please.
sir. All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling in. Mr. Falabi not very interested in our economy. And do we still have Mukhtar with us? For the moment, we don't have Mukhtar, and we've almost come to the end of the program, but the phones will be there. I don't know what in the last few minutes that we have, I don't know if you'd like to weigh in on well, first of all, as an economic sustainability committee, whether this dream, this concept, and it's gone beyond the dream, how sustainable it really is, given that people have said, we've been here, we've done that, even as other people are saying, yeah. But this time around, there's a kind of resolve. And I was editorializing earlier that, the president, all the objectives that he did have in mind, it's like this is the time left to indeed make a lasting impact. And so that the Vice President Oshibajo has put at the head of this team seems to indicate how seriously or how strong the resolve is to make indeed a difference. Lawan in Abuja, good morning, sir. In fact, time is up, and even though as we're waiting for Mr. Lawan, we can't even take him anymore. That's been our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.